Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 31. We will start with page 30b, 2 lines from the bottom of the page. We go back to Hilchot Yain Nesech, which we discussed at length day before yesterday and yesterday. The idea of the prohibition of deriving benefit from wine used for idol worshipping, for libation. Amar Rabbi Asi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Beteira. It was a Tana Mishum because it was several generations earlier. Shlosha Yenot Hen. We have three type of wines that are prohibited in a sense that since it's come from the direct or indirect idol worshippers. The first one is Yain Nesech, which is a clear wine that we use to impart a use for the idol worshipping, for libation, as we explained yesterday. That's the way they used to do it in those years, and we learned it also earlier, but it was mainly yesterday on page 29b. The pasuk, just a vignette of what we discussed yesterday. Asher chelev zvachemo yochelu yishtuch yain nesicham. We learned the hekesh of Yain Nesech lezivchei Avodah Zarah, that is prohibited asur banah, the same way as is a met asur banah, the deceased zevach Avodah Zarah also asur banah, so you cannot derive any benefit from that. Umetam'eh tum'ah chamura, so it's also the wine imparts a severe ritual impurity, the same as a deceased, a dead body. As we explained many times, a dead body, a corpse, carry a ritual impurity both in touching and caring. Even the person doesn't need to touch him directly. When it's come to ohel, it's also prohibited. So for example, if you have kos shel yain, it's a cup that was used for Avodah Zarah, so anyone who entered to that ohel, to that house, he basically can be carried to tum'at ohel of tikrovet Avodah Zarah. And then, and the amount, that is a volume, it has to be the minimum. It's the Meiri said that that's the amount that go from the wine that they have an olive bark, bichazait. Usually kezait, as the Mefarshim explain, it's tum'at ochalin, that something relates to food. Usually mashkim, a liquid, is revi'it alog, is not kezait, but when it's come to yain nesach, because we compare to zivchei Avodah Zarah, to idol worshipping, as we learned yesterday in page 29b, so therefore it goes the same as zevach. Here is the word of the Rambam, Hilchot Machalot Asurot, chapter 11, and you see it also in the case of Mishneh. As we mentioned yesterday, on page 29b, the Torah renders prohibited to derive benefit from wine that was used for libation in idol worship. One who drinks any amount of such wine is basically liable to receive malkot, and you see it also in Yomi 123. Wine used for libation impart ritual impurity to people in vessels through physical contact, and the earthware through its airspace. As we explained, you just enter to that domain, and they have kos shel yain Avodah Zarah. It's already carry ritual impurity. Additionally, it transmits impurity to one who's carried it, like an unslaughtered animal, a dead animal carcass. So that's basically followed the Chachamim, the sages that express it in the Gemara and Chulin, page 13b, who dispute the ruling of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beteira. You see it more on the Rambam in Sefer Tahara, Hilchot She'eravot HaTum'ah, chapter 6. Page 31, Stam Yenam, the second din. So Stam Yenam, it's it's wine that belonged to idol worshipper, but we are not sure if the wine used for libation of idol worshipping or not. So we said asur b'ana'ah. We are prohibited to derive benefit from that, as we learn in the Mishnah, because that's the whole Rashba, the Ritva and the Meiri explain that that's basically applies also that it's a yain shel Israel, a regular wine, that idol worshipper touch it. So they said, umetame tumat mashkin birvi'it, and the wine impart a ritual impurity of liquids that the size is 1/4 of a log. So yain esech in general is the oraita. Rabbanan have the gzeira, the enactment, mishum yain esech. But here's the Lechem Mishneh on the Rambam, Ilchot Machalot Asurot, chapter 11. I'm reading from the Korean edition. Stam yainam, nondescript wine of a potential idol worshipper. It's referred to wine of those non-Jew in circumstances where it's unknown whether it was used as a libation of idolatry or not. Driving benefit from such a wine is prohibited by rabbinic law, as we said. Yain esech is the oraita, stam yainam is the rabbanan. One who drinks 1/4 of a log of this wine will receive malkot for rebelliousness, and it's in a case in regard to all prohibited liquids, despite the fact that any amount of them is prohibited. And we said also the metame tumat mashkin. So the case of Mishnah explain and impart a ritual impurity of liquid. 1/4 of a log of nondescript wine belonged to those potential idol worshippers, imparts ritual impurity to liquids and foods. Ilchot Avodah chapter 6. The third type, or hamafkid yeino etzel oved kochavim, one who's basically deposit his wine by idol worshipper, asur bishtiya umutar be'ana'ah. It's prohibited to drink it, but it is permitted to derive benefit from it. So here is the Rema on Shulchan Aruch Yoreh De'ah 130. Wine deposited with an idol worshipper that is sealed with only a single seal may not be consumed, but benefit may be derived from it. This leniency applies if the idol worshipper designated a space for it that was accessible only to a Jew. That's basically the way that the Gemara explains this Braita. So now the Gemara challenged the less din of Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera. They said V'hatnan, and this is a Mishnah in Tractate Avodah, chapter 3, Mishnah number 4. המפקיד פירותיו אצל עובד כוכבים, הרי הן כפירותיו של עובד כוכבים לשביעית ולמעשר. So, one who deposits his produce with a idol worshippers, it has the status of the produce of an idol worshipper with regard to halachot of the sabbatical year and with regard to tithe, as the idol worshipper might have exchanged the Jew produce with untithed produce or produce of the sabbatical year. So according to this logic, wine deposited with a idol worshipper should be entirely prohibited due to the concern that the idol worshipper exchanged it with his own. So how come? So the Gemara said, Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera speak about what? Kigon sheyichad lo, that the idol worshipper designated keren zavit. He put a special corner, designated a special corner for the Jew's wine, which is if the wine was located away in a specific place to which only a Jew have an access. So Gemara asks, "Hache bishtiya nami lishtere." So if that's the case, so you allow also, if you don't concern about exchange, so it should be allow even in the case of drinking. The Rabbi Yochanan ikla leparvad. So that's a location that Bar Kapara, the Tana, lives after Bar Kapara passed away. Rashi said, "Amar klum yesh mi mishnat Bar Kapara." So he asked, is there any Mishnah of Bar Kapara here? Bar Kapara was a student of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Rebbe, the one who put together the edit of the Mishnayot and Bar Kapara also collected many halachot. It's called Mishnat Bar Kapara. That's Gemara in Bava Batra 154. See it also in Rashi in Brachot 20. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan asked if somebody can refer or quote from those Braita. Tana lei Rabbi Tanchum demin Parvad. That's the name of a great rabbi there. Hamafkid yeino etzel oved kochavim mutar bishtiya. If someone deposits his wine with an idol worshipper, drinking from the wine is permitted. Kare alei, Rabbi Yochanan called upon that Bar Kapara, the pasuk in Ecclesiastic chapter 11 verse 3, Mikom sheyipol ha'etz sham yehu, where the tree falls, there it shall be. So he meant to say sham yehu sagratach. You mean to say that the tree itself will be there? So he said, Ella, even after that's Chacham passed away, Ella, it means Sham Yehu Peirotav, the fruit will be. So it means in the metaphor for a sage that his fruit represent his disciples. So Rabbi Yochanan was intimidating that although Bar Kapara may have died, Rabbi Tanchum, his disciple, perpetuates his wisdom. So what did you derive from this Braita? That if you have a wine that deposited by idol worshipper, you can use even drinking, and unlike Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera's point of view. So it's important the way the Ravid explains and others that here it was in a designated area for the Jew, and that's the place that the wine was deposited. And the Jew have the key, and the Jew have put the seal. So therefore, the wine allowed to drink, Rabbi Moshe allow only to drive benefit. אמר רבי זרע לא קשיא, רבי אליעזר הרבנן, דתניא אחד הלוקח ואחד השוכר בית בחצרו שלו בית כוכבים, ומלאהו יין ומפתח או חותם ביד ישראל, רבי אליעזר מתיר וחכמים מוסרים. So here you have a case that one who purchases or one who rents a house located in the idol worshipper courtyard, and they fill the house with containers of wine, and the key of the house or seal is in the possession of the fellow Jew. So it's according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's fine, you can use it. Sages prohibited, because there is a concern that the idol worshipper may take the seal and fake it, or the key, and therefore they put that boundary. So the Gemara here bring an halacha in that regard. אמר רבי חייא ברד רבי חייא בר נחמני אמר רב חיסדא אמר רב ואמר לה אמר רב חיסדא אמר זעירי ואמר לה אמר רב חיסדא אמר לי אבא בר חמא אחי אמר זעירי הלכה כרבי אליעזר, meaning that when you have a wine, here is the word of the Rambam, Lichot Machalot Asurot chapter 13, one who rents or purchases a house in the courtyard of a idol worshipper need not lock up his wine if he resides in the home. If he does not live in the residence, he must seal the wine, lock the door, and keep the key and seal it with him. It is preferable if there are two seals, but the accepted custom is to rely on a single seal after the fact, b'diavad, and basically that's the view of Rabbeinu Tam. You see more the Shach on Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 130. Here we have more amirot, more statement from Amoraim in regards to the tokef hashmira, the way that we need to check something that is sufficient, secure and sealed. Amar Rabbi Elazar, hakol mishtamer bechotam echad. He said that all substance are sufficiently secured by one seal, which is you gave something to akum, to idol worshipper, and you put a seal, like something in that barrel or that utensil. We are not concerned that maybe it was somehow replaced by him or fake, etc., and substituted with something that is prohibited. Chutz min hayayin, you except wine, she'ein mishtamer bechotam echad, which means when it's come to wine, we're concerned that it's not sufficiently secure by one seal. So the Meforshim explains, you see it Rashi on page 39b, and you see it other places. In wine, we have a special concern that it may happen the idol worshipper will fake the seal because he has such a great desire for his yain nesach, for his idol worshipping libation wine. Rabbi Yochanan disagreed, and he said, Afilu yain mishtamer bechotam echad. And he said, even wine is secure by one seal. So the question is, here you have typically a disputation. The Gemara said, Velo plige. No, it's not a disputation. Ha ke Rabbi Eliezer, ha ke Rabbanan. Meaning, the rule of Rabbi Yochanan follow the view of Rabbi Eliezer, the Tana, that hold that we do not have any concern over ziyuf, over faking the seal. The Rabbi Elazar, the Amora, he follow Rabbanan, the sages, that you do not depend, you do not trust wine, particularly wine, because of the concern that it may be part of his desire for his libation wine, and it's not sufficient to have one seal. So Tosfot have two explanations. You see also in the Ritva. The first explanation, Tosfot said that Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yochanan did not dispute it when it's come to understanding the view of the Tanaim. The disputation is only how do you rule when it's come to a final halacha. Rabbi Elazar follow Chachamim, the sages, versus Rabbi Yochanan follow Rabbi Eliezer. But Tosfot, in the second explanations, you see it also in the Ritva, hold that it's not even a machloket, it's not a disputation between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yochanan. Both follow halacha when it's come to final halacha Rabbi Eliezer, as the Rav explained earlier. It's only Peirush, explanation of this disputation of the Tanaim. Rabbi Eliezer explained what the consequences as far as the dinim, as far as the law, follow of the view of the Chachamim, of the sages. Rabbi Yochanan explained what Rabbi Elazar said. Another option, Ika de Amri, Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar said, Hakol mishtamer chotam bechotam betoch chotam, which is all substance are secured by a seal within a seal, which is two seals, which is the idea that it's not sufficient to have one seal. Later the Gemara explained what is a seal within a seal. Chutz min hayayin she'en mishtamer bechotam betoch chotam. Exclude, except wine which is not secure by a seal within a seal. So Rabbeinu Hananel explains that the only way to observe the kashrut of the wine, according to Rabbi Elazar, is by having a physical, secure person that guard over wine. Rabbi Yochanan amar afilu yain mishtamer betoch chotam betoch chotam. Rabbi Yochanan said that even wine is secure by a seal within a seal. Vet Ravayu kerabanan, and both of them follow the view of the sages, because if you go by Rabbi Eliezer, the Tana, he allow wine even in one seal. And that's basically the disputation between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yochanan. Mar Sava Rabbi Yochanan hold Ki Pligi Rabbanan Lalei, Rabbi Eliezer, when the sages disputed Rabbi Eliezer, and they said that we are concerned about faking it. It only applies bechotam echad, in one seal. Aval bechotam betoch chotam, when you have a situation of seal within a seal, they concede that there is no concern that the idolater might have opened it, and therefore they permit the wine. Sharu. So, according to that view, they are all agreed that the idolater will not make such an arduous effort to fake two seals in order to make libation, idol libation wine. Umar Rabbi Elazar savar afilu chotam betoch chotam asrei. Rabbi Elazar hold that the sages prohibited even wine that's secure by a seal within a seal. The sages prohibited. So, heichedame chotam betoch chotam. Remember we said earlier that we talk seal within a seal. What does that mean? So, how far, Ritva explains, you can go lenient and consider this sign as a chotam betoch chotam. Amarava, agana defuma dechavita, shrika vachatima have chotam betoch chotam. So Rava sets a basin place over a mouth of a barrel that is smeared with a clay and stamped with a seal is considered a seal within a seal. Vilo, lo, and if not, it's not considered a seal within a seal, and it's enough one chotam. So that's the way Rashi explained based on the Beit Chadash, Yoreh Akuf Lamed. You see it also in Tosfot, page 69b, Dibor Matchil Mai, and the Taz Yoreh there. And Rava bring another example, Dikula Umei Hadak. So he said that if a basket is placed over a barrel and is fastened to it, so therefore you have here example of what? Of have a chotam betoch chotam, seal within a seal. Lo mehadak lo have chotam betoch chotam. But if it's not fastened to the barrel, it's not sealed within a seal. The third example of Rava, not bedisakaya, chatimat piv lemata have chotam betoch chotam. Wineskin that is placed in a sack. If the wineskin stopper is facing downward, that's a seal within a seal. Piv lemala lo have chotam betoch chotam. If the stopper is facing upward, it's not seal within a seal. V'ikayev pumei legav v'tzayer chatim have chotam betoch chotam. And if it bends the wineskin bottleneck inward and tie it back and seal it, it's also a seal within a seal. Moreover, in regards to observe the wine, Tanu Rabbanan barishona yomrim yain shel ein kushi asur mipnei birat sarika. So it was a place called ein kushi. That's a place that the Samaritans, the Kutim, was there, and we explained several times that Kutim, they converted by the end of the era of the first temple from the fear of the lion that God sent them, and then later on it was ups and downs, and the rabbi several times put a decree that the issue of their Judaism, etc., if they're real convert or not real convert. But they said originally, he said that the wine from the Samaritan city of Ein Kush is prohibited because the concern that might come into contact with idolaters inhabitants. Mipnei birat sarika. So it's a Gemara in Kiddushin, if you remember, you can click nowadays on the internet, you can see it on page 75b. If it's still a enactment that's applicable or not. But anyway, in also wine, v'shel bar kata asur mipnei kfar parshai, that is a place close to bar kata, that idol worshipper, v'shel zagdur asur mipnei kfar shalim. חזרו לומר חביות פתוחות אסורות, סתומות מותרות. And then they said, look, you have to differentiate between open versus sealed barrels. Open is the issue, closed, we okay. It's a sealed barrel, we are permitted. מעיקר המאי סבור. What the reason initially? מעיקר הסבור, ולבסוף מאי סבור, at the end. מעיקר הסבור אין כותי מקפיד על מגע עובד כוכבים. The kuti, the Samaritan, does not care for the touch of idol worshipper and his wine. לא שנה פתוחות ולא שנה סתומות. Makes no difference if the barrel is open or closed. ולבסוף סבור, כי לא קפיד, הפתוחות, הסתומות, מקפד קפיד. Why מקפד קפיד? Not because he loves us, but because he wants to do business with us. And the Samaritan ensured that idolater did not handle sealed barrel of wine because they want to do business. They want to make sure that we purchase for them. Look at the Tosfot, at the very end of the Amud. The Gemara asks, וסתומות מותרות, ואף על פי שאין לך סתומות שלא יהיו פתוחות מתחילה, everyone sealed it's originally open. Because כל סתום תחילתו פתוח. מכל מקום, כיוון שלתו לסתמן להתקיים למכור לישראל מין תרכנת לאוש הפיר, ולא חושבים שירדו ישראל כלל. Again, it's a business. He's afraid that we will not buy it if we know that it was open. So therefore, the sealed barrel permitted. And the Gemara raised a contradiction against this notion, וראמינו. Page 31b, השולח חבית של יין ביד כותי ושל סיר ושל מאויס ביד נוכרי, אם מכיר חותמו וסתמו מותר ואם לאו אסור. Here we'll start with Rashi. Rashi said that kuti, even kuti, the Samaritan, is not suspected to do nisuch hayayin, but we consider the Samaritan might allow the idol worshipper to touch with the wine. The Rabbeinu Tam in the Tosfot here said that the mashma midepalginu bitrei bavot shma mina davka ketani yain be'ad kuti, אבל ביד עובד כוכבים לא סגי בחותם אחד. So Tosfot here have a lot of expansion on this, but anyway, אם מכיר חותמו וסתמו, ואם לאו הוא סתמו, ואם לאו אסור. So if he recognizes his seal and his matter of closing, the barrel, it's permitted. If it's not recognized, it's prohibited. So a sealed barrel is permitted only when it's recognizable. So soon you see the whole idea of chatnut, we're going to talk. אמר רבי זירא לא קשיא כאן בעיר, כאן בדרך. You have to differentiate between the city and the road. Sealed barrels are permitted in the city because the Samaritan is careful to ensure that the idol worshipper are not touch them. So otherwise they don't do business with the Jews. While traveling, it's not concerned. It's assumed that no one will discover that the idol worshipper came in contact with the wine. מתקיף לרבי ירמיה, מידי הנח דעיר לו בדרך עטו. So he said that we learn that we have the issue of the barrel of wine. It's in a city, but in a city it means that it did not come from the road, meaning for sure the Samaritan brought him from the field to the city. So why are we not concerned that the idol worshipper touched him? אלא אמר רבי ירמיה בן הגיטות שנינו, כיוון דכולי עלמא אפחי מרתת, אמר השתא אילו, יחזו לי מפסידו לי. So basically it's all business concern, that he's afraid that if they see it, that I allow the idol worshipper to handle, to touch it, so I lose my profit and the Jewish people not purchase from me. Now, we go to the whole concept. What's the reason that the sages prohibited the beer of idol worshippers? So it's not mentioned in the Mishnah on the Braita, but that's Tosfot said it was the minhag at the time of the Amoraic era. So it wasn't combined of beer or other things, it was independence. So the Tosfot asked why it's not Bishulei Akum. Anyway, the Gemara in Baba Batra 96b said that it was made out of barley. Most of the poskim said that it can be either date or barley. Anyway, so Rami בר חמא אמר רבי יצחק משום חתנות, רב נחמן אמר משום גילוי. That's so important. Rami bar Chama said that the idea is that the Jewish people were befriended with idol worshippers, were drinking with them, and it will lead to marriage. Rav Nachman said it's because, as we explained yesterday, the idea of gilui, of the exposure. They're not careful, and then snake can put a bite, his venom there. Agilui demai. What exactly you concerned about the exposure? If this concern ima like gilui diniziata, that you concern exposure of the vet. We to expose the vet. So anan nami megalinan. Ela ve'ela dechavita anan nami megalinan. So lo tzricha be'atra dematzlu maya. Talk about the water that was brewed, allowed to sell. So ela ma'ata yashan tishterei. If it's old wine, it's aged beer, not wine, beer, that you should be permitted. As Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, Damar Rabbi, some say Rabbi Chanina, Yashan mutar, ein manichol yashen, echemitz mutar, ein manichol achamitz, gzera yashan atu chadash. So in short, they decree with aged beer to the concern with regard to a new beer. You see more on that in the Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 114. Wish to have more time. רב פאבו מפיקין לבבא דחנותא ושתה, רב אחי מתיו לביתי ושתה, ותרוור משום חתנות. רב אחי אביד ארכחי גתרגה, until he reaches his home, to prevent any time of connection to the extreme. רב שמואל בר ביסנא היכה למרגבן, those people that don't care for the yain for idol worshipper. Aitu lechamra velo ashte, aitu leshicha velo ishti. So they brought him both wine and beer and not drink it. Bishlama chamra mishum shimtza, because we are concerned that he's maybe libation wine. Shicha mishum mai. So he said mishum shimtza de shimtza. The trace of trace. We did not drink beer, with the concern about drinking wine. אמר רבי שיחא דרמיה, שרי, וכי הבריא לא נשתה מנה. So the Aramean, it's okay, permit, but my son will not drink it. מה נפשך? ישר לכולי עלמא, שרי יאסיר לכולי עלמא אסור. So everyone, why are you different? אלא סבר, רב סבר משום גילויה, ואזיל מרודה דכשותא וקל לזיערא. דלקי מלכי לתפי, כי הבריא הואיל ולקי לא נשתה מיני. Because he's weak, so he'll not drink it from him. אמר שמואל כל השרצים יש להם ערס, של נחש ממית, של שרצים אינו ממית. So he said all the creeping animal possesses venom. The difference is if you have a snake, he can kill you. The creeping animal others will not kill you. אמר לשמואל לחייה ברב בר אוריה, meaning בן תורה, תא ואימה לך מיתרא מאגד דהבה אמר רב אבוך. אחרי אמר אבוך, הנה הרמאי זבקני, which is those idol worshippers that they puff up. Like people who have stomach issues, intestine issue. Davushadu giluya, they drinking exposure water, velo metu, and they not die. Ad de'achle shkatzim ratzim chavil gufayu, but they eat those repugnant creatures and creeping animals, which hit their bodies and thereby render them less susceptible to the venom. Now the Gemara goes back to the whole idea of beer of idol worshippers. Amar Rav Yosef, page 32, Hai chala de shichra de arama, this vinegar made of Aramean beer is prohibited asur. That's true Shulchan Aruch Yerodea Kuf Yudalet 114. The me'arbevei dur daya, because they mix in the yeast of a wine used for libation, the yain nesech. So that's a place that shimrei yain is much cheaper than the vinegar. So therefore, there's a chance, Bet Yosef said, that they combine the two. Amar Ravashi, me'otzar sharek and the me'arvrei misra sare. So he said that vinegar from a storeroom is permitted because if another substance is mixed with it, it will spoil over time. So the Rambam, in Hilchot Machalot Asurot, chapter 17, you see it also, as we said in Shulchan Aruch Yerodea 114, said, vinegar prepared from idol worshippers' beer is forbidden because one-based yeast is added to it. Vinegar from storeroom is permitted as it is not mixed with other substances. The Shulchan Aruch, as we said in Yerodea 114, write that it is prohibited to purchase vinegar if it's sold at a higher price than wine, due to the suspicion that some wine has been added to it. Nevertheless, it is permitted to purchase vinegar is removed from the barrel in which it had been stored for an extended price of time, since this is a sure indication that no wine has beer added to it, as adding wine to vinegar that is stored will cause it to spoil. But as we said, that way more on that, you see in the Beit Yosef in Yoredea, the vinegar that is selling in the regular stores, most of the farshim you see in the Beit Yosef, since it's a short period of time of survival at the time of sale, so therefore the seller would not concern that it can be ruined by combining the different yeasts. So the Beit Yosef in Yoredea there said that it's okay. But as we said, you see more on the Shul 2 and Shulchan Aruch and Beit Yosef in Yoredea 114.